The words are the most important. The tone of your voice when you're communicating to the agent on the other side. Two agents can be negotiating the same deal and the same price with all the same things, but one walks away with the offer accepted and the other walks away and has to hit the market and go back and try to find another home for their buyers. So today I'm giving you the language. I'm giving you 3 specific phrases that will change how you negotiate for your buyers. And a quick note, a reminder, if these videos are adding value, share them with agents who need it, share them with agents in your office. And if you personally want extra coaching and you want somebody who's been in the business full time, who's achieved the things that you want, book a call on my Calendly in the link below. And I'm happy to be a resource and see if we have synergy to help build your business and create predictable, consistent income. So here's why most agents negotiate from a weak position. And I see it happen all the time. I'm a listing agent often, and I see the buyer's agents and how they move and how I use it to leverage it to get my sellers what they want. But an agent goes into a negotiation typically reactive to whatever I'm gonna say. So they're waiting to hear what the other side wants, and then they respond, and they're following the other person's lead. There's always a leader in the negotiation unless you have 2 competent agents who understand how to work the dance to ultimately achieve the goal. That's a win-win for both parties, and the sale happens and everybody's happy. When you negotiate and you're coming from like a reactive place and you're letting the other person lead, everything feels like a surprise. The pushback will throw you off, and the agents who win negotiation consistently, they're the ones who's practiced language. They practice it. They know what language puts them in control of the conversation. They have one-liners to go to. And that's the 3 phrases that I'm going to share with you. So let's go into them. This last week, I had a conversation with an agent. He was getting some good, some frustrating responses to me. And I said, hey, look, I know you want a deal. I want a deal. I know your seller wants to sell it. I know my buyer wants the home. But ultimately, we need to come to a place where we can get a win-win here. And guess what? That dropped the barrier for that agent to come at me so negatively and then go back to his seller and talk about, how I was being XYZ. Now he's going to go back and say, hey, this agent's great. I know they're doing what they can. Ultimately, this is where the buyer feels like their max prices and what they're willing to do. So I do think it's a strong offer, whatever. They're going to go advocate for you as the agent on the other side because they want to work with you and they want to get the deal done for their seller, and we want to get it done for the buyer. So it's important to find language that works for you. And here's some statements that you can use. They're anchoring statements. So for me, I always like to throw out the win-win statement. But what you can do before you submit an offer, every time you could say, hey, I just want to give you some context on where my client's coming from. We're sending over an offer here shortly. Let me tell you a little bit about what's going on and why we're coming at this price. You got to make sure that you don't overshare anything that's going to be a disadvantage for your buyer, where you overshared that, oh, well, they need to be in their next home in 4 weeks. Okay, cool. Well, it's pretty hard to find the home, right? The one. It's hard to find the home. And you're saying that your buyer needs to be in a home in 4 weeks. And if they don't buy this one, where else are they going to go? Do they have other houses lined up? Probably not. So clearly they want this house and they need to be in 4 weeks. So that leads me to believe that I have more leverage in the negotiation because they need to be in a home and they love this one. So you got to make sure that you're not oversharing things that could be used against you and you don't even realize that it's being used against you. But it is. So you got to think about, is this on a need to know basis? Does the agent need to know this? No, the context might be, hey, this is where their max is that they want to be in. They are relocating here from another state and they're so excited, but this is the number that they're comfortable with, and that's their highest and best offer. But why does this work? Giving them that context, it's because they're not just looking at a number on a page anymore. It's not just a black and white offer. The agent can now give the seller context as to where your buyers are coming from, and they can provide insight to how it was talking to you as the agent to help their seller get on board with this low offer. So you got to have that reframe. It's how you shift any tense conversation, which it can get tense. And so for me, again, I jump back to, hey, I know you want to make a deal. I know I want to make a deal. I know your sellers want to get this sold and my buyer wants the property. So let's figure out a win-win. That's if it gets tense, right? If it gets tense, which oftentimes it does, and you get this back and forth and it's like, why are we even arguing like this? Let's go back to the problem or the solution at hand, which is both of our clients, we want to achieve the same result. We want to find them the home, and your seller wants to sell it. So let's make it happen with these two. I have a ready, willing, able buyer who wants the home at this price. We can close at this price, and you'll have your funds in 21 days. So language that you can also use is, hey, well, I understand where your seller's coming from, and I want to make this work, and so do my buyers. Here's what I think we can do that gets everyone closer to where they want to be. That sentence alone does three things, right? So it validates the other side. It signals that you're collaborative and you're not just trying to fight all the time. And it opens the door for a solution instead of like a fight till the death, until the deal doesn't go through. That reframe is not meaning that you're giving in. It's changing the energy back to be a reminder of why we're here and what we're actually doing this for. And then phrase 3, or the third, sentence and language that you can use. This one requires confidence when you use it, but when it's used correctly, it's so effective. And this one sounds like this. I want to be transparent with you. My clients are serious about this home, but they do have other options that they're considering. We'd love to make this work, but we really need to know by tomorrow. I don't want to put pressure on it, but we do need to know pretty quickly if we can move forward on this or if we need to keep looking. So this will create real urgency without it being pushy, but it's really important you deliver it with the right tone, and you also don't make it, you have to use it wisely. If you're coming in so far low, you would never use this language because it's silly. If it's honest and it's true, and you're at a point where you're like, okay, the seller's just wasting time. Like, look, we really need an answer because we need to know if we need to go look at these other homes and put an offer in. But this keeps it to having your seller understand that there are other options out there, especially if you're in a buyer's market. And it communicates that your clients aren't desperate, which immediately will strengthen your position. So you can use this when the negotiations have stalled. If you haven't heard from them in a while, you can use it when they're just dilly-dallying, and it will create momentum, and that's what will help push the transaction forward. So if you want to put these all together, here's how it happens. When you have a house that you want to use, you can call the listing agent before submitting the offer and you say, hey, I just want to give you context to our buyer's offer. They're excited about it. They're just relocating here from California, and here's what they're thinking. This is their best price. And, we looked at several homes. It was this one and another one. And they felt like this home at this price, they're willing to move forward. We can be closed in 30 days and be on our way. And then if they come back and they try to counter offer, it doesn't work, you can reframe, validate their position, and come up with a collaborative approach. Hey, we want to make this a win-win. What can we do here? I know you want to make a deal. I want to make a deal. How can we make this work? And then work to negotiate for that in between. And then if the thing stalls and you don't hear back, that's when you can give them a clear window to respond. And you have that anchoring statement, you reframe it so you get back to cordial people if it gets dicey. And then you do the takeaway and get them to, make a decision. Like, hey, we need to know one way or the other because we need to know if we need to go look at other houses. We love your home. We're willing to move forward at this price, but ultimately, we need to know. So let us know. It's clear that words matter in negotiation, and that anchoring statement, the reframes and takeaways, these tools will change how you show up for your buyers, and not just for the outcome, but also your confidence as an agent when you're talking to these people. If you start using these one-liners, you're gonna see the power you have. And don't ramble or keep going. Truly just say these statements and then stay in silence. Don't continue to talk and ramble on and on, because it takes away from your positioning, your strength in negotiation. So utilize these, practice these, you're gonna win more. And if you wanna keep building your negotiation skills and create predictable, consistent income, let's connect, book a free call on my calendar link below, or find me on Instagram at PK Residential, and I'll see you on the next one.